And I'm back, and what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to change this caliper. I've got a brand new caliper here to put in here, and the reason I'm changing it is it's sticking. Now, there's a video I made about a month ago, and you can see right up here in the right hand corner of the video, you can click on that and look at that video afterwards. And it explains that if you've got a sticking caliper, that and it explains that you can take out the pins and lubricate them and put it back on, and hopefully sometimes that, you know, with the cleanup and everything, that'll remedy the situation, and often that works. But sometimes when the caliper is old and rusty and the piston is, you know, the piston gets seized and it doesn't free up, what'll happen is the caliper will come on, it'll, you know, it'll activate the brake, and then it doesn't quite release enough, and what'll happen is you end up dragging the pads on the rotor and it overheats. So that's what we were experiencing. So I'm going to change this out. So I've got the vehicle secured. I'm going to take these bolts off the back. There's two 13mm here. And since we're going to actually change the caliper completely, we're going to take the brake hose off of here. So we're going to drain a little bit of fluid into a pan. All right. Just loosen those two, one top, one bottom. Okay, let's let that drip. And we'll take our pads out here like this. One here. Okay, these bolts on the back that hold the bracket on are 18mm. There. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the rotor, and I'm going to change the bearings and re-grease this hub. I don't think it warped it. Still looks okay. So. And there's a retainer, that, and that nut. And the nut will come out with the bearing. And off comes the hub. And we're going to clean that all up. And there's the inner bearing. And the grease seal. Grease seal popped right off the back. Must have got that warm. So we got a new seal and two new bearings. What I do is every time I'm in to do brakes or something, you know, if I look at see stuff that's rusty, I mean, like this dust shield should probably be changed, but what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to clean it up, and I'm going to scrape around in here too, like any stuff in here that I can remove and sort out. And then I got some asphalt spray that I'm going to put in here when I'm done, and I'll show you that. Keep an old truck on the road. It's kind of rusty there for sure. Okay, so I got the rotor cleaned up pretty good. The inside's all clean, and it doesn't look like it's warped, so I think that can be reused. Now, over to this. This is that dust shield. Now, look at the shape it's in, right? It's really bad. So what I did was I went online and I looked to see if I could find like an exploded diagram of the vehicle, and I found it, a 2003 F-150 rear-wheel drive, and these are discontinued. And I looked high and low. I went everywhere. I went off-site. I went, you know, all the normal places I normally go looking for parts, and I went just, you know, Google searching all over. This is not made anymore. I don't know where you get it. And those part numbers just come up with discontinued everywhere you go. So, you know, I mean, it's not that important really, but there is a function of it that I'd like to try and maintain, and that's this cup here, okay? And how this goes, now this is the inside of the rotor, and that cup sits down, so that cup sits down like that, and what it does, you know, it helps keep the dust out of, you know, because basically anything from outside is going to have to go down and around, and against the dust seal in the back of the rotor, to, you know, to get in there. So, you know, I was toying with the idea of just putting this back on without the dust shield. But there's enough form here. I think what I can do, I'm going to attempt this anyway. I'm going to clean it up. And I've got some rust converter. And then I'm going to use some fiberglass. I've got some fiberglass mat here, some resin, and there's some hardener here. So once I get this clean, I'm going to fiberglass through here and over there and down through here. And there's one spot here that little corner is broken off. I couldn't get the bolt out, but I will get it out. The way this goes, there's 3 bolts. There's one here, and one there, despite all the other holes. There's nothing goes in that one. There's nothing goes in that one. But, you know, that's sort of critical to have it there. So that one, this one, and that one. Anyway, I'm going to get this started, and I'll keep you along with me for the journey. Let's see how we make out. And like I say, if anybody knows where to get dust shields for the front of a 2-wheel drive 2003 F-150 with a 4.2 engine, let me know. Can't seem to find it anywhere. No one's got it. Rock Auto doesn't have it. Amazon doesn't have it. eBay doesn't have it. None of the parts stores that you can go online have it. So it's a non-issue. So well, let's get this cleaned up first, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I cleaned this with brake cleaner and a brush as much as I could. A lot of what's left there now is paint, not grease. So, all right, so I'm going to put some rust converter on it. Oh, it's just a shadow of its former self, isn't it? Okay, so the shield has been treated with rust converter both sides, and it's dry. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wear a mask when I work with the fiberglass. And here's the fiberglass mat. And I've got a knife, and I've got some scissors. Mix that up. Gives us about 10 minutes working time. Maybe less. Put it over. Get it right to the edge. Now we got to remember we want to create another piece back here. We want to create a little corner, so we're going to leave it a little long there. Okay, then with that on there, we're just going to paint over with the resin. We're going to go right over the holes, and we'll cut them out later. Oh, it is difficult to try and do both sides at once because it doesn't want to play, it doesn't want to stay up. Okay, as much as I hate to, I think I'm just going to have to sit this here, sit this down somewhere and let it harden. Maybe as it firms up I can get it, but right now it doesn't want to cooperate at all. I'm going to stand it in here maybe. Stand it in there. There. Uh-oh. Okay, so it's the next morning. This is hardened. And I'm gonna have to do some work on it. See, this is the back side. Doesn't look too bad at all. You know, a little bit of touch-ups here. But my mistake is I tried to do both sides at once, I think, you know, because it didn't want to stick. You know, I would get one side smooth, and I'd move over to the other side, and the other side would fall off. So I think I can make this work. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to cut out these bubbles here. Just that probably should have had, instead of trying to put a big piece, I should have had little pieces like this. And, you know, just try and do one area and get it stuck, and then move on from that, you know, because it can overlap. Let's get another crack at this, and I'll show you how it works out. Okay, so I formed that piece, and it was, you know, a bit wet, and it wasn't hardening, you know, right away. So I took some more of that mat and I just squished it on both sides, and it helped firm it. And I'm not going to worry about it, you know, not being embedded in the fiberglass resin. That's going to help hold it upright while it sets. And I'll just grind that off. But I think we might have it, and that's the place for the extra bolt hole, right? Okay, so I've been cleaning in here. You know, when you go to do one job, often you discover another job to do, and quite a bit of, you know, loose corrosion and stuff on the top of the frame here and on top of this strut mount and stuff like that. So I've been scraping at it, and I'm going to clean it up a bit more. And then I've got some spray undercoating I'm going to put in here before I put the wheel back together, and try and preserve some of this frame. Because, you know, what happens is mud and things go down, like in places like this, and they lay there, and the moisture rots out the steel, right? So you don't want to have that happen, you know. So every time I'm in doing other work, I usually find something to clean up. So I'm going to do that a bit, and I'll show you how that works out. Okay, there's the new and improved cover. All right, we'll just get a couple of bolts started in here. Pretty good. Okay, we're going to knock those old races out of there. Okay, that's one old one, and the other one is here. There it is. There's the other one. Okay, and we have some new bearings. All right, so there's the new race for here. All right. There we are. I'll put the old one in there upside down, so the square side down on there, and we can use that to help it. There it is. There, the new one's. There's the old one out. Use that as a driver. All right, and that's all the way down. Okay. All right, let's put the other race in. This side. Here's the new race for here. All right. Just like that. Get it started. There it is. Take a good quantity of grease, put it in the palm of your hand, and take the bearing and see how there's a gap in here. So we're going to fill that gap like this. We're going to push on it until the grease comes out the top. See that? See how the grease is coming in there? It's filling that. So we're going to do that all the way around. Okay. All the way around the bearing. Going. Takes quite a bit of grease to fill it. Just keep going all the way around, and that'll fill that gap. And that'll make sure that the bearing is full of grease before a load is ever put on it. Okay, that's good. That's packed. All right, now I always take a bit of grease and put it in the cavity here. It doesn't have to be full, but put a little extra grease in there like that. And we're going to fill it from the front as well when we put the bearing in. When we put the whole rotor on the car, we'll add a little bit more grease to the opening here. But there, that's a good start. And you put the bearing in there, tapered side down. All right. Now we have a seal in there. Okay. And the grease seal goes down like that. So we set it in there like this. And we'll just get it centered. Like so. Good. Okay, little grease on the seal, like that. Okay. Okay, get that bearing and seal in there. Right. We'll put a bearing in here. Okay, get that spinning. Put our nut on there, we'll put our lock on there, the cotter pin in there, bent over. That's good. Okay, I'm going to finally get down to putting the caliper in, which was our whole intention here. One top and bottom, there we go. Okay, I'll just wipe off these sliders for the pads. Okay, one goes here, and the other one on top. Just clean those off. Same thing, just clips on there, like that. All right, now we got some brake lubricant. Put a little grease on those sliders right there, both sides. Top and bottom, like that. Okay. Okay, so our pads weren't the problem, and there's still lots of life left in them, so I'm just going to put a little grease on the top and bottom of these and put them in those sliders. Like so. Okay. One there. Okay. Same on the one on the back. Little grease top and bottom. You see the pads look good, and there's lots of wear left in them. And we'll just set that in the same way on the back. Okay, just like that. Okay, so these pins come greased, but I'm going to add some grease to them anyway, just to make sure we don't rely on. We're just not going to rely on what came from the factory. The grease on these pins. Okay, so on there, and the same with the bottom one. Put a little more. Okay, so this piece clips onto the back of the caliper like this. Okay, and we're just going to put a little bit of that same grease. So we're just going to put a little bit of grease along there and along there, and just on the face of these pistons, like that. Okay. Okay, like so. Okay, so bring that in. Squeeze that in place. All right. And we know this caliper is the right one for this side because the bleeder screw is at the top. It'll fit on the other side, but the bleeder screw would be on the bottom, and you won't be able to get the air out of it that way. So make sure when you change calipers that the bleeder screw is at the top. Okay, these don't have to be over tight. They're snug. Okay, like that. Good. And we can see that travels back and forth. The slack will come out of that once we bleed the brake. Okay, there's a little plug over the hole where the line goes. So I've got my banjo bolt. I got 2 new washers. So one will go on either side of this block. So one like that, and one on the inside. Okay. Put this in here. Good. Nice and snug. Both sides. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. That looks good. So we'll just take that. Okay, so just got that little rubber cover off, the bleeder screw. All right, what I like to do with bleeder screws when they're new is I like to take them out, put a little grease on the threads so they come out easy the next time. I put a little grease on that just so it doesn't seize in the hole. Very often the bleeder screw will seize, right? So it's good to put a little grease on it. Okay, so I just topped up the reservoir with brake fluid. Just put that on there loosely. Okay, I have an assistant at the pedal, so okay, pump away. Down and up, down and up, down and up. Go down do it about 10 times, maybe 10 downs, 10 ups. And let me know when you're holding. Holding, okay. Let's see here. Air came out. Okay, go ahead, do it again, please. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna bleed the other side now. Okay, hold. Okay, pump again. Hold. Okay, that's bled. Just gonna tighten that back. Make sure that's nice and snug. Okay. Hold it. That's good. Okay, that's done. Caliper back on there, new wheel bearings, fixed the dust shield, cleaned up the frame, put some rust preventative on it, and that looks pretty good. It's working well. Brakes don't drag one side or the other, not overheating. And that little dust shield, well, that was a bit of a project, but I think it's good. Worked out okay. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you again here very soon on Everyday Projects. Bye for now.